Yoku's Island Express is a game that is difficult to pigeonhole into any particular genre. To best describe it, I would have to say that it is a pinball game crossed with a platformer with a smattering of Metroidvania level design and progression. The game is developed by Villa Gorilla and published by Team 17 and was released on May the 29th of this year on PC and console. You start the game as Yoku, who is an adorable beetle that has just been given the role of postmaster on Moku Manor Island. However, things are not all as they seem. The island guardian Monokuma has been dealt a mortal blow by the mysterious Godslayer, and it is now up to Yoku to help save the island by gathering all the elders together to perform the healing ceremony. Along the way, you meet a quirky cast of characters which includes Dipperloaf, the talking tree stump, and Juice Master Jeepers, who is a member of the Skullgangers. Many of these will also propose side quests for you, such as a mushroom island inhabitant that would like you to spread some mushroom spores across the various destinations you have visited. Whilst delightfully entertaining, these cute distractions are not integral to the main story. There was not a point where I was lacking for things to do, and on occasion I'd be juggling 3 or 4 different quests or tasks. The main story is not an epic yarn that you would get in games such as The Last of Us or the Final Fantasy series, but it is quirky enough to keep you entertained throughout the 5 to 6 hours it will roughly take you to get to the conclusion. If you do decide to follow through with the available side quests that are scattered along the way, then you can expect to add a few more hours onto this time. Graphically, the game uses a very bright colour palette that is extremely pleasing to look at and complements the overall cheery and light-hearted tone of the cartoony painted visuals. I played the Switch version of the game, which looked great in handheld mode on the Switch's 720p screen resolution, but it was extra vibrant and colourful once docked and run at 1080p on my LED TV. The music within the game is excellent and definitely gives off a Creole or Caribbean island vibe that I didn't ever get bored of listening to. There is no speech within the game, with the various island inhabitants talking through worded speech bubbles, complemented with some form of mumbling or gibberish sound effects. The gameplay itself is what is most interesting, as although this is a Metroidvania platform style game, you don't jump between platforms. In fact, there isn't even a button for jumping. Yoku is attached to a ball via a small tether, and this can be rolled around in the same way a dung beetle would move, well, a ball of dung. But most of the time, you will navigate the various puzzles via pinball flippers. These are mapped to the ZL and ZR shoulder buttons on the Switch controllers, and it is surprisingly easy and intuitive to use. A lot of the preset pinball areas of the game would not look out of place in some of the more established franchises such as Zen Pinball. Saying this though, the game is super forgiving with no time limit. You cannot die, or at least I didn't through my entire playthrough of the game, and you only get a small penalty of losing some fruit, which is the in-game currency, if you fall off of one of the many pinball areas into the fawns below. Thankfully, this is in plentiful supply throughout the island, so you never feel on the brink of fruit bankruptcy. There are a couple of niggles with Yoku's Island Express though. As the island opens up more and more, there is a fair bit of retreading over old ground, as you would expect from a Metroidvania-like game. However, this means redoing a lot of the pinball machine style areas, which whilst fun, can become tiresome after the 3rd or 4th go, especially as there is little to gain after passing through these the first time. There is some relief later on in the game when you unlock the charmingly wonderful beeline, which does enable you to fast travel to various points on the island map. The software itself generally held up well, although a couple of times it did stutter or need to load mid-playthrough, and on one occasion the game froze completely and I had to reset to the Switch's home screen and start again. Overall, I love the time I spent with Yoku and his postman pinball antics, and even now I keep going back in for more, all the while discovering new areas, collectibles and secrets that I hadn't seen whilst progressing with the main quest. I've currently racked up just under 6 hours of gameplay, and my save is telling me that I still have only completed 68%, so I'm sure that there is a lot more to discover. Yoku's Island Express earns an 8 out of 10 rating from me, and I would advise anyone to take a visit to Moku Manor Island, as I am sure you will not be disappointed. If you enjoyed this video, remember to please subscribe to EXP Up for more reviews and gaming content.